Here are 10 brilliant ADHD organization hacks that you can use for your home right now. And here is number one. If you have something in your hand and you know you have to actually go put that thing back to a certain place in your room or in your house somewhere, go ahead and take it to that place without setting it down somewhere else. Because if you do set it down somewhere else, then what happens is you either have to go back to that place again to go and get it and then put it back into the place it actually belongs, or you might get like me and get distracted and go do something else. And then now I know, or I think it's in this place, and I come back and it's not in the place I think it is, but I've set it somewhere else. And now I've got to go all around searching for that thing and then eventually find it and then take it and put it back into the place it's actually supposed to go. I don't do that much anymore, but I've done it a lot of times. And so that's when I decided that, hey, before I do anything else, if I have something in my hand, I'm going to make sure I put it back in its proper place instead of putting it somewhere else where I have to go again and find it or again and pick it up before doing that. And here's the reason that's really important for ADHD, because you do not want to get distracted and then forget that you put something down somewhere else. And so this is not going to prevent you from getting distracted, but it will help you to put that thing back into its place before you get distracted. And here's another great hack. You want to go around and designate different areas for different things. It could be an area, a section, or a drawer. Maybe you have an area where you are going to go do your workout, so you designate this area for that. Maybe you have a drawer for your socks, all the socks that you have matches for because the other ones are just lost somewhere. Maybe you have a place to where you actually go and prepare your coffee and you designate that area for that. The great thing about this is it's going to help you do a few things. One, you know where to go to start an activity that area is designated for. Two, you know where something should be. So if you have to go get it, then you know where it is. Three, if you pick something up, you know where you need to go and put it back as well. So it's going to help you a lot of different ways to just designate different areas, because it's going to help you to remember. And anything that we can do to help us to remember easier, to remember where things are easier, to remember where we need to go easier, is a very good thing. And here's something else that you can do that will really be helpful, is to go around and straighten up at a specific time. And usually I say go do it each and every day. Go around, take 5 or 10 minutes, evening, morning, nighttime before you go to bed. Just go around and straighten up just a little bit to make sure things are in the right place, that they look okay. And if you have to throw some stuff out, you got trash throw out or whatever, or you just find something, you're like, hey, I should have thrown this out before, and throw that out. That's great. Now, if you can't do every other day because you're like, hey, that's just too much for me right now, I don't want to do that right now, I don't want time to do that, then try to do it every other day. You just want to have a specific time that you go around and make sure that you're organizing, but you don't want to be like once a week if you can help it. You want to be more frequent than that. And the great thing about this is that it will help you from making sure that your home does not get super disorganized over time. You can do a little bit each day. It's going to maintain some organization for you. And so that way you don't have to go through and do a huge organization day. You can do it just a little bit at a time, and then it won't be such a big task when you're trying to do your whole house, or your 4 or 5 rooms, or 3 rooms, or 2 rooms. And the next thing you need to think about is going to be, how do you actually want to organize? You can't organize by color. You want all your blue stuff in one area, red stuff in another area. You can't organize by category. Maybe you want all your blue jeans. Maybe you want all your suits in the area. Maybe you want all your dresses in the area. You could actually organize by person. You have 5 people in your family, and each person needs their own kind of stuff, so you organize it by that person. So you get to choose how you want to organize everything, and you have to try to figure out what is the best way for you, because everybody's different about how they want to organize. But these categories are going to help you a lot, because you can choose 1 or 2 or 3. It just depends on what you want to do in each room or whatever, each area. But the thing about it is, it's gonna help you know where things are. It's gonna help you put things together so you know where you need to go to get something, or you know where you need to go to actually put something back. And it just helps you when you look into your closet or the area that you're looking at, you can see that everything looks pretty good, looks pretty organized, and doesn't look in disarray because you've got similar things into similar places. And here's another great hack. is that sticky notes pretty much rule. Because the great thing about sticky notes is that they are able to be used as a label, but the thing is, they're temporary. You can put them pretty much anywhere, just about, as long as the adhesive sticks on it. And the cool thing about it is you can write yourselves notes on the mirror, all around your apartment or house, or on your computer. You can just leave them anywhere. Of course, if you leave too many, then it does just become cluttered up. But the thing is that sticky notes are great because a lot of times with ADHD, you do need reminders. You need something to tell you this is where that certain thing is, or I need to go ahead and do this appointment, or I need to go to this place, or something here is in this certain place, and give a sticky note there. And so they just are great for actually being able to help you remember things, because the worst thing is to go somewhere and start looking around and trying to remember where something is, trying to remember, okay, did I put it here? Did I put it there? Or do I need to go to this appointment or that appointment? You're trying to remember all this stuff and using your working memory to try to come up with the information. Instead, if you have sticky notes, then you can just write it down on there, and then you can go around and that will remind you as you see it. And the great thing about it is that they come in different colors too. So if you want to go ahead and color code everything with sticky notes, you can do that too. Not sure if that's too much, to do. And the other thing about it is, besides sticky notes, you can have just regular labels and put the labels anywhere. The disadvantage of having the labels is generally the adhesive is a lot stronger. So you want to make sure before you put a label on something to make sure you want that label to be more permanent, because it's going to be much harder to get off. And those are the two types of ways that you can actually label things. Sticky notes, temporary; labels, more permanent. And both these things are going to help you to make it easier to know where things are. And here's the next hack: go clear for the win. And what I mean is clear bags, clear boxes, clear bins, clear containers, anything that you can get in the transparent color that you can see into is going to be awesome for ADHD, because then you don't have to wonder what's inside this thing. You're trying to figure out what's inside this opaque container and remember, hey, what did I put there? You forgot to put a label on it. And so now you're really wondering, you got to open it up, go search all through it to find the thing that you want to find. And maybe it's not even in there. So anything that you can do to make sure that you have clear containers and everything to where you can see in it, because a great advantage of this is that even if the stuff inside the container is disorganized, then you can go ahead and still look through there and say, oh, that's where my jeans are. They're not in any organized fashion, but you at least see, hey, that's where my jeans are. That's where my decorations are. You can see that from across the room, or just as you walk by, that it's there. And that way you don't have to wonder what's in there. So this is another great way to have a reminder. Another great way to remind yourself where something is to have it in a container where you can see through it, to where you can see it easily. And that's going to make it much easier for you to find things that you are looking for. And here's the next hack, is to make sure that you don't have too much surplus. It's good to have surplus so that you have a little bit more than you actually need. But when it gets to the point to where it's just overflowing way too much, like you have 2,000 pens, you only need like 10. Why did you buy 2,000? And why do you have 2,000? Do you really need that many for whatever thing that you're going to do? If you don't, you might want to think about getting rid of some of it. Or why do you have 5 air fryers? You only need like 1. Somehow you just got impulsive and just kept buying air fryers and not remember that you had one, and you end up with 5 somehow. So that's just way too many air fryers, right? You don't need that many of that thing. So make sure that if you're going to have surplus of something more than you actually need, that you don't have an excessive amount, because then all that does is you have stuff in your home that eventually just becomes clutter, because you're not using it, you're not getting rid of it, it's just taking up space, and then you're having to organize around it or find new places for it, and it's just basically becoming clutter. And so you want to try to limit that and get rid of some of the excess, however you want to do that, and then just limit the amount that you actually had that you actually keep. And here's another hack: get rid of the junk drawer. You don't really need one. It's just the drawer that you just find stuff and you randomly just put it in the junk drawer. I've done that before. I used to have one, and everything that is just you don't even know where it goes. You think you might know where it goes. You think you might need it one day, ends up in the junk drawer. You really don't need one. You can just get everything out of the junk drawer, clean it out, and then just leave that drawer for something else. Because what happens is, even if you have put stuff in the junk drawer that you remember that it's in there, what happens is you go and try to find that thing. You're looking through all the junk drawer. It takes you like 15 minutes to go through everything in the junk drawer. And then you might even miss the thing that you're actually looking for in the first place. And then you may not even find what you're looking for, or you may realize, you know what, this goes to absolutely nothing that I have. So that's the point of, you don't really need a junk drawer. You just find a different place to put those things, figure out if you actually need to keep some of those things, or if they can be thrown away, or if you don't even have the thing anymore that is for the stuff in the junk drawer. And then make sure to use that drawer for something else, because there's probably something else you can use that drawer for that would be beneficial to you, instead of just having a junk drawer. And the next hack is, make sure you're able to get some natural light in the room, because natural light actually helps you be a little bit happier, a little bit motivated, but it also makes the room look a little more spacious, where if you have a window, it just makes it so it doesn't feel so enclosed, because a lot of times if you're looking at just four walls, it just makes the room feel a lot smaller. So it's nice to be able to look outside, see some trees, see some grass, maybe some deer, whatever, or even in the city, just being able to look outside and see something else is always nice. Now, if you can't do either, they do have lamps that actually help you to have natural light in your room, and that does help some. But just being able to have a window in the room somewhere to where you're able to just get a look outside can be very beneficial to you. And the reason I call this an organization hack is because now you can kind of design your room, organize your room to let some natural light in, and it just makes it feel a little bit more spacious and organized just by being able to have a window and have some natural light come through. And the next hack is, make sure you limit the amount of bulky items in your house, because they do take up a huge amount of space and makes the room just feel much smaller and look much smaller. And then you have to organize around these things, trying to figure out where you're going to find space to put something else. You know, you might have two couches. You may have bought a couch and then you just never got rid of the old one, and now you have two and you don't know where to put the other one. Or you have a treadmill, maybe an exercise bike in one room that's way too small for those things. And so now you're trying to figure out, okay, what am I going to do with these things? How do I find extra space for these things? So you want to limit the things down to the essentials of just what you need. That way you're not having all these other things in your home that are just making it so you don't have any space for other things, or limited space for other things. And so this will help make your home look more spacious when you get rid of these things, and be able to use that space for something else, which can be very beneficial to you. And now, this is not the only video I have about things like this. I have a video about how to make your office ADHD friendly, and I also have a series that you can go through room by room of how to make your whole home ADHD friendly. And you can watch that video right here.